Retirement is coming and it is unavoidable, especially if you are in your early 40s or late 40s. At some point, you've thought about it and have either made a decision whether you're going to retire in Zimbabwe or you're going to retire in Africa, or if you're going to retire, let's say, for example, in the West. But there's a few factors that we need to look at for us to consider which place is best. And this is going to change based on pretty much your plans and your income and what you desire in life and what you've planned for your family. But this is a general discussion. And what I'm saying in this video does not apply to each and every one of you. Now, the first argument that you normally hear when people talk about where is best to retire is the issue of healthcare. So, of course, we know that retiring in Africa, the healthcare may not be very, very good. And if it's good, it's going to be very, very expensive. So, contrast to that, if we take a look at, let's say, retiring in, let's say, the UK, the healthcare system is fantastic. You know, they're up to date technology-wise, and the ambulances are there. And in cases of emergency, chances are you're going to be attended to super fast. The question I have is, can we use that metric or that particular reason to decide whether you're going to retire in Zimbabwe or in, for example, the West? Now, this is going to depend. If you take healthcare very, very serious, perhaps you have chronic diseases and all of that, then of course you're going to choose the UK. But for the vast majority of people, this is where I want to discuss the pros and the cons of retiring either in Zimbabwe or in the West, in this case, in the UK. So when it comes to healthcare, as for me, thank God, I haven't had a need to visit the doctors. Even here in the UK, I've been paying national insurance for over 25 years, but I haven't really used the services because I've made a decision to keep myself healthy. Now, I'm not saying that that's the reason why I should retire in Zimbabwe. I'm just saying, if you take care of yourself, chances are you're not going to be visiting the hospital a lot. But there are also other instances where it's an emergency, you are involved in an accident. Well, then, things change right there. There and there, things change. I remember a time when I was traveling to Borodale. It was in the evening. And as you know, that Borodale road, at the time, it had no lights. And there was some construction work that was happening. So there was this, what you call it, that machine that is used to compress the ground. It has a massive wheel. Yeah, one of those. So that was on the other side of the road. So as I'm going to Borodale, I'm seeing cars, passing by. And there was a guy there holding a high-vis jacket, sort of directing the cars. Along came a car. It was traveling so fast. It was unbelievable because we were in slow-moving traffic. It was moving so fast. And I was just saying to myself, I hope that he sees that one of the lanes is not functional. That car went straight and bang! It hit that stationary truck or that machine that compresses the ground while building the roads. And you can imagine that thing is solid. It's like hitting on a brick wall. I mean, a brick wall is even an understatement. It's like hitting a massive concrete wall. And we pulled over, ran to see if we could help. I mean, there were 4 young girls in there. It was a very terrible scene. You could see one of them, the shoulder was dislocated. And the other one, there was a head injury. You could see there was swelling to the head. And with the other one, she was just not responsive at all. In fact, they were all not responsive. So while we were there for about 10, 15 minutes. But I mean, what really can you do in that type of situation? So what the people did was, remove them from the cars and then just put them on the side safely. But it took time for the emergency services to come. It took a very long time. And that time, that window can be, life and death. So in those scenarios, yes, it's very, very scary because if that was, say, for example, maybe in the UK, ambulances are pretty much, quite quick to respond. So I understand that argument, but the question, like I said, is, are you going to use that to decide whether you're going to retire in the UK or retire in Zimbabwe. The second thing I want to discuss is the income stability. When you're in retirement, basically you have at least 200, even if you're with the government state pension, you're on roughly 230 per week. But if we look at that 230 per week, and let's say that is the only amount that you are receiving every week, it's not a lot of money at all. Unless, of course, you have a private pension. That is not money that you can write home about and say, you know what, I'm retiring on $230 a week and basically I'm good. It's very little because the cost of living is very, very high. Things are very, very expensive in the UK and they don't really announce them per se. But when you start doing your shopping, you can definitely see that there's an increase. The basket now only fills up with £30. Whereas before, £30, you'd go into a shop with a trolley. That is how crazy things are. And this is, it is quite ridiculous. So if you add 20 years from now and you are earning the average of that, let's say 250, for example, in 20 years time, inflation is going to be high. It's never going to go down. It's always going to go up. It may not go up as crazy as how it is in African countries, but it's going to go up. Things are going to get more expensive and it doesn't necessarily mean that your pension is going to go up. So you're going to be stuck there. And in the UK, the disadvantage is while you're in retirement, it's very difficult to have some hustles on the side to make money. It's going to be very, very difficult. And when it comes to your food, you're definitely going to buy your food from the supermarket. There's no two ways about that. The other thing as well that is a massive advantage when it comes to the UK is the roads, the infrastructure, all of that is on point. It is really, really good. So those of you that don't like potholes, I know in Birmingham, we have quite a lot of potholes now and it's really getting bad. But for the most part, the roads are really, really good. So infrastructure consistency is, really, really good. Now, safety and predictability. Well, yes, safety is there. Politically, things don't really go crazy where, chances are you're going to be, you're going to disappear or something crazy is going to happen to you because two political parties are fighting. Here in the West, it's a bit more, it's a bit more subtle. Of course, you get, the extreme sides also coming in every now and again, attacking people and all of that. But for the most part, it is not that bad. So the challenges are if you decide, let's say, to retire in the UK. As I mentioned, the cost of living is crazy. Are you going to be able to sustain that in retirement? That's the question. If inflation goes up and if you have any credit cards, the interest rates go up, are you going to be able to plug that hole? Chances are no, because you don't have any extra source of income. Loneliness. Now, this is a big one. And this, I think, is one of the deciding factors to a lot of people, because it's very, very easy to feel very, very lonely if you are in the UK. Reason being, majority of people are busy working. I know I have people that live not too far from me that I haven't seen in years. Why? Because either people are resting or they're working. But if you compare that with back home, it's different. In fact, as for me personally, I've extended my stay here because I can concentrate. There's less distractions. When I was in Zimbabwe and I was trying to run my online business, there were just too many distractions and it's just too relaxing. You wake up, the sun is bright, you want to sit out there with a cold drink, people are passing by, you start talking, you go into even public transport, people are discussing, it's like it's a lively environment. Whereas specifically here in the UK, it's different. It's either work or you're sleeping or resting. That's it. There's no middle path. So when it comes to loneliness, in retirement, chances are you're going to be lonely. And if worst case scenario, you do have, let's say, a disease that needs to be treated. And I've heard situations where you'd have to go into a care home, and sometimes to cover the cost of the care home, you actually have to sell your house. I don't know how true that is, but these are things that I've also heard. And as I mentioned, the weather. Yesterday, I came across a video which was saying that the UK had not seen the sun for about 2 months straight. 2 months straight, no sun. It has just been gloomy, overcast, and raining for the most part. 2 months nonstop. That in itself can cause you to be depressed. Even if you wanted to go out to activities or you want to have fun, or you just end up saying, you know what, I'll just stay at home because it's just not working out. Now, if you're a Zimbabwean or African, whatever it is, when we look at retiring back home, there are certain things that are psychological. For example, you feel like you're part of a family because, you know, there's people out there. You know, when there's a funeral, you know there's going to be a ton of people coming to support and at least bury you, you know. Whereas if you're in the UK, you'll be lucky. In fact, sometimes it may be even more difficult because you need a GoFundMe to repatriate the body, or you're just going to be buried in silence. And chances are you're probably going to suggest to be cremated because it's very expensive. It's very, very expensive to be buried in the UK. You know, I mean, take a look at it. So family, identity, and community, these are the sort of things, in my opinion, that are very, very important when it comes to retirement because, you know, you're slowing down, you're much older, you know, you have less energy. These are the times where you just want to be around your loved ones in a very good environment, weather, and so on and so forth. When it comes to food and culture, now this plays a major role because me personally, the foods that we eat here, for the most part, is not organic. And even if it is very, very expensive. And I'm talking something as basic as vegetables, right? Because you'll start to realize that as you get older, all those things like a lack of calcium, a lack of magnesium, zinc, and so on that we normally find in food, it starts lacking. You know, that bar starts going it starts dipping. It starts going very low if you're used to eating the foods that you were surviving on when we were younger, you know. So I have a lot of symptoms of lack of calcium, lack of magnesium as we speak. So I have to supplement, and it's also very, very expensive to supplement, but it's not also very good for your health. I mean, to always keep supplementing with vegetables. With these tablets and supplements. You want to eat proper food. As I mentioned before, the weather as well in Zimbabwe, it's fantastic. You know, it's brilliant. And when we look at the cons, as I mentioned, you know, the cons about retiring in Zimbabwe, of course, the healthcare system, the potholes and all of that. But if you can look past that, and I'm going to tell you a solution to that, the healthcare situation. And that is, if you want good healthcare in Zimbabwe, it is there, but it's paid. They have a system which is similar to America, where you have to pay privately if you want a good healthcare system. So this is something that you need to plan ahead of time if you want that. When it comes to the roads, of course, there's nothing you can do about that. But at the moment, there are some improvements when it comes to the infrastructure. You know, the roads are being built. The electricity situation is getting much better. But again, if you do decide to retire back home, you got to make sure that 3 things are in place. Number 1, you got to make sure that you have some sort of a solar system or power generator. Okay. The safest one is a solar system. You got to have that. It needs to be part of your plans. Number 2, you need to have a car. Like I said, in these cases of emergencies, sometimes it's just quicker to just drive to the hospital than wait for an ambulance, because chances are the ambulance won't even come that quick, right? I mean, they are there, but they may not be available that quick. Number 3, water. If you have the ability to drill a borehole, you're going to definitely need a borehole. But of course, there's other options where you can buy a JoJo tank and then just buy water, and it gets delivered when it's finished. So those are the things that you want to have in place. So the biggest question now is, okay, in the UK, you get £230 a month in retirement. In Zimbabwe, there's nothing like that. What do you do? So this is where you need to introduce some sort of hustle on the side where you can make money. I was watching a few videos earlier on. You know, you can have a basic greenhouse, very small in your back garden, or even at your farm if you have some land. You can have a greenhouse, and that greenhouse could sustain you and actually provide close to 400, 500, 600, or even 1,000 a month. just from the greenhouse. Now, if you compare that figure, it's definitely way more than what you'd get if you're in retirement in the UK. And I'm just aiming low now in terms of what you can do to make money. You can have, if you have a bigger land, you can go into chickens, goat, whatever, pen fattening, and so on to make money. But the money that you're going to make, remember, if you're in Zimbabwe, the money goes a long way. Unless you choose to have a lifestyle that is very flashy and you want to go back home and show people that, hey, I'm the man, or I'm the queen, right? If you want to do that, then it's going to be very, very expensive for you. But if you're going to be someone who is down to earth, easygoing, and you just want to have a peaceful lifestyle while you're in retirement, in my opinion, if you're retiring in Zimbabwe is definitely the way to go. Because number one, the weather is very good. The family is there. You can create side hustles. You can make money. I know a few people, they have, 5-6 cows and they sell milk, raw milk, and supply every day and make money just through that. So definitely there's little side hustles, but of course they need some sort of investment into it. And this is where you really need to think about what you want to go into in terms of earning money on the ground in Zimbabwe. But of course, we are talking about in 20 years, because that's roughly the time to retire, 20, 15 years, of which you can put things in place right now. If you put your your mind to it, and in 2 years, you can put all these building blocks that I'm talking about that can make your life very comfortable in Zimbabwe. But the good thing is, if you're on let's say, a dual citizenship, you can bounce between the two countries. But overall, retiring and having a plan in Africa or in Zimbabwe or Asia, where you are back home, definitely needs to be on the books. It has to be an option, in my opinion, because of the pros that I've just mentioned. Because at the end of the day, okay, you may want the roads to be so amazing, like the roads in the UK. But are you going to be on the road 24/7? No. As for me, when there's a problem like that, my solution is I'll just have to get a Toyota Hilux, and then just make sure that my car is not so low to the ground and it's more comfortable. That would be my solution to that. That wouldn't be a deterrent for me not to retire back home. Secondly, just the weather. It is brilliant. Thirdly, I can grow my own food. I can decide I want to have beetroot, carrots, beans, you name it. And right now, as we speak, I'm planting trees. In 5 years time, 10 years time, I want to have fruits everywhere at the farm. In fact, I want to have so many fruits that whatever season it is, there needs to be something. I may not have everything all sorted right now because, like, as I explained in the last video, things are very, very expensive in Zimbabwe, but I'm trying my best. But having tasted Zimbabwe, not just on a holiday, but just living there for about 2 years, what I experienced there was really amazing. It was really, really amazing. Now, I guess maybe for me, it worked because I'm not a show-offy type of guy. In fact, when my car broke down, I even used to use combis when I didn't have money. I would use public transport. And when I have a bit of money, of course, I'll use the local Uber. I think it's called InDrive. Yes, I'll use InDrive every now and again. It's very inexpensive. But if you're someone that wants to show people that, look, I've made it, I've got money and all of that, then maybe that will be a bit difficult for you. But you can make yourself very, 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 very comfortable if you start working towards this, a step at a time. Now, we have a community called Kumusha Investors. This is a community for those who are like-minded, who have the desire to do something back home. Right, we created this over 6 months ago. It's not at a stage right now where it's functional, because we still have to go back to it and start working on it. I'm still looking for a time where we can have some meetings and then put out a plan out there on the type of investments that we can go into. So right now I'm speaking to a few people to see what we have on the ground so that I can pitch to all the community members. But there is a website, there's a community there, This is a community of like-minded people. We can share ideas there. For example, right now there's some work that's being done at Ruwa Organic. These are the sort of situations where we can share ideas, we can share contractors, and of course encourage each other, because sometimes it can get very, very lonely if you want to retire back home, but you have no one else to speak to, and everyone around you may be saying, well, I don't think this is a good idea. It's very, very scary. You know, it's very, very scary if you're trying to take this leap of faith by yourself. So being part of a community like that, an online community like that, is very, very, very powerful. For me, it has helped me a lot. And sometimes I also get private messages and so on. And it is such a good thing to have this, because, you know, in the past we didn't have this. I remember even here in the UK, we never got that. And also, one thing that you also may need to consider is, you know, there's a lot of uncertainty when it comes to the immigration rules. They keep shifting, they keep changing. So if you put all your eggs in one basket and say, you know what, I'm going to wait for 10 years or 15 years for me to get my indefinite leave to remain and then stay here, there may be something that is going to be changed that can affect you. For example, I'm not saying this is what is going to happen, but let's say they say one of the conditions of the settlement is you can't have 2 minor criminal records. So these could be, perhaps maybe you were speeding, you didn't take you didn't take notice of the speed limit, and you're over the limit and you're booked. That could be strike 1, strike 2. And if they decide we're going to deport you, where are you going to go? So plan B, in my opinion, is very, very important, despite the fact that there are factors that may look like are negative for the most part when you look at Zimbabwe. But as I mentioned, if you want a very laid back, down to earth lifestyle, like me personally, I don't even need to live in the city. I'm very happy with the farm life. I guess maybe it comes with age, or at least maybe what I prefer. I like the clean air. I like being on the ground, right there on the earth. I don't like the concrete, because I've been living on the concrete for the past, I don't know how many years. So I just want the earth, for at least that's me. And anything that's connected to that, the foods, I want to have my eggs, all free range, the chickens, the goat meats, the vegetables, the fruits. And I think that will make me happy. Definitely. That will make me happy, because at the end of the day, the last thing you want is being sad and depressed in retirement. Nah, this is the time to enjoy, reminisce, give knowledge, give wisdom, and enjoy. Perhaps maybe at a stage where you have some grandchildren, this is the time to really enjoy the other side of life, you know? Anyway, I want to hear your thoughts. What do you think overall about retirement in the UK or retirement in Zimbabwe? Is there something that is stopping you from doing that, and what is it? What's the deal breaker? Let me know in the comments box below. And the link to Kumusha Investors is going to be in the video description below as well. Join the community. It's absolutely free. Until next time, thanks for watching, and I'll see you again in the next one. Take care.